Okay, folks, I am trying to move on from this subject, but it keeps coming up. It keeps coming to me, and I got to deliver the mail. I am just a mailman. Sometimes I bring you bills, you hate me. Sometimes I bring you checks, and you love me. And I'm going to tell you today, right here, right now, on New Cosmic Knowledge, how to diagnose and fix any relationship. That's right, folks. How to diagnose and fix any relationship. Let's roll right into it right now. This is going to be good stuff. You're probably going to want to take notes because this is going to give you what you need, ladies and gentlemen, to get you where you need to be as far as your relationships go. Watch this. It's really good stuff. How to diagnose and repair your relationship. It's pretty simple. It's pretty easy. It starts out with self-diagnosis. If something's going wrong in the relationship, the first thing to do is not to blame your partner. The first thing to do is do a self-diagnosis. Take a look at yourself. Look at yourself if you're a man. First, look at the positive masculine attributes of a divine and sacred masculine dude. Am I active? Am I intelligent? Am I logical? Am I rational? Am I linear? Am I determined? Am I reliable? Am I strong? Am I stable? Am I protective? Am I sensible? And am I being heroic, focused, single-minded, practical, goal-oriented, consistent, predictable, capable, smart, rugged, ordered, and disciplined? Am I being those things? And cousin, if you are, you're not the problem. If you're being those things, if you're being all those things, and the relationship still isn't working, you need to get out of it. Plain and simple. If you're doing all those things and it's not working for her, cousin, it's time to go because there's not many men left that are doing those things. And if you're in a relationship and you're doing those things and it's not working for her, time to go. You're worth too much to be stuck there. And you got to look at the feminine side. Depending upon how feminine you are you doing those feminine things? Or ladies, look at the feminine side. Am I being soft, warm, sweet, kind, loving? Am I being nurturing, gentle, creative, receptive, flexible, adaptable? Am I being yielding, forgiving, understanding, caring, caregiving, serving, passive? Am I being peaceful, open-minded, beautiful, mysterious, spontaneous, ever-changing, and inspirational? Honey, if you are, and there's still relationship problems, it's not your fault. If you're being all of those things, if you are embodying all of those divine, sacred, feminine attributes, then it's not your problem. And I shouldn't say you shouldn't move on, but it's not your problem. If you're doing this as a man and there's problems, it's not you. If you're doing this as a woman and there's problems, then it's not you. So having determined that it's not you, and of course, if you do determine that you're not doing some of those things, then you say, well, that's where I'm messing up. This could be the problem. But if you decide, okay, as a man, you go through that list, you're doing all those things. As a woman, you go through that list, you're doing all those things. Then look at your woman if you're a man, look at your man if you're a woman. Is he doing all those positive masculine things, ladies? Is she doing all those positive masculine things, men, or feminine things, men? And if she is, then you go back and look at yourself, okay, am I doing any of the negative masculine things, negative feminine things? We'll get on to that. But first of all, are you doing them? If you're not, that's probably your problem, or at least part of it. If you are doing them and she's not, there's your problem. If you are doing them and he's not, there's your problem. It's really not that hard or that difficult to figure out. Then you go to the negative parts of it. If you're a man and you see that you're doing all of those positive things, you're probably not doing these things, but check yourself out anyway. If you're a man, are you being rigid, stubborn, aggressive, tough, ruthless, violent, non-communicative, self-centered, authoritative, dominating, dogmatic, closed-minded, autocratic, rule-bound, or heartless? Are you being those things? If you are, there's part of your problem. Ladies, are you being weak, emotional, irrational, illogical, unpredictable, bitchy, stupid, powerless, manipulative, controlling, indecisive, or fickle? If you are, there's part of your problem. Now, it's very simple. Usually, if you find yourself being these, you're not going to find yourself being these. Here's how it's usually going to work. If you're being these, then your spouse is going to be not being some of these and being some of these. If you're doing all these, your spouse is not going to be doing all these, or your spouse is going to be doing these and you're not. It's not that hard to figure out. So once you've determined, okay, am I doing these? And if you're not, start. See if that fixes it. If you're not doing these, start doing it and see if that fixes it. You do an inventory, you're not doing all these, start doing them, see if that fixes it. If it doesn't fix it, then you look at your mate and say, are they doing all these things? If they're not, you've got something to think about. If you are doing these things, stop doing them. See if that fixes it. If it doesn't, look at your spouse and see if they're doing some of these things. And you will have identified your area of concern. You will have identified your area of problem. If you're not doing some of these things, that's a problem. Do it. It'll probably fix it. If you do them and it doesn't fix it, then there's a problem with your spouse. If you're not doing these, if you're doing these things, stop them. If you're not doing them and you are doing the other things, then it's a problem with your spouse. So what do you do then? You go to your spouse and you talk, you explain, and maybe you even take this list and say, hey, let's go over this together. And you'll find out if your partner's willing to recognize his or her actions. And if they're willing to recognize their actions, then you move on to step 2. Are they willing to discuss why they are not doing the positives and why they are doing the negatives? And if they're not willing to recognize their actions, cousin, the train's already left the station. If they're not willing to recognize their actions, the train's already left the station. You're whistling past the graveyard, it's over. But if they are willing to recognize, are they willing to discuss why? Why they're not doing the positive things? Why they are doing the negative things? And then are they willing to discuss why they're not doing them? And are they willing to take responsibility for not doing them or doing them? And if you get down to yes to all of those, then you can sit down together and say, hey, is there a behavior-based solution that we can agree upon to get these things back in line? And usually it's very simple. It is, okay, we both know the positive masculine aspects. Let's be doing them. We both know the positive feminine aspects. Let's be doing them. We both know the negative masculine aspects. Let's not do those. We both know the negative feminine aspects. Let's not do those. Let's both be willing to recognize our actions. Let's both be willing to discuss. Let's both be willing to discuss why we're not doing or are doing. Let's both be willing to take responsibility. And let's both commit to a behavior-based solution that we can agree upon. It's very simple. You start, you stop, and you fix. It's just that easy. You start, you stop, and you fix. And this is here just to remind you, if you're a high male attribute man, you got to find a high female attribute girl. And if you're mid or low, don't settle for finding a high to mid mate to compensate. Get yourself high. And that's not what some of you think it means. Rate your potential partner. Is there balance? Pay me now or pay me later. If they're not willing to work on it while you're dating, they will not be willing to work on it after you moved in or got engaged or got married. Trust me, it won't work that way. It's really, really, really that simple, ladies and gentlemen. It's really that simple. If there's problems, do a diagnosis. Am I doing all the positive? If you're not, start. See if that fixes it. If you are doing all the positive, evaluate your mate and see if they're doing all the positive. If they're not, note it. Continue to do all the positive yourself. Also, ask yourself, are you doing any of the negative? If you are, stop. See if that fixes it. If you're doing all the do and not doing all the not do, then you're doing all you can do. Evaluate your spouse and identify in very specific terms, honey, I've noticed that you're not doing these, and write them down. And I've noticed that you are doing these, and write them down. And I evaluated myself, and I think I'm doing these, and I've evaluated myself, I don't think I'm doing these. Honey, are you willing to recognize this? Yeah, I am kind of not doing it. Okay, are you willing to discuss it? Sure. Okay, well, why are you not doing those things? Why are you doing those things? Oh, okay, I see. Well, are you willing to take responsibility? Yes. Okay, well, let's agree on a behavior-based solution that we can fix this with. Sorry. If you both start doing them, and if you both stop doing them, sorry, you fix the problem. If you both won't stop, if you both won't start, and you both won't stop, you can't fix it. It's just that simple. And that's the name of that tune, ladies and gentlemen. That's how it works. It's just that simple. It's just that easy. It's just that hard. It's just that difficult. Now, before I choke, I'm going to end this. Thank you for tuning into this broadcast excellence. We are the last generation of real humans. Let's get busy.